What's up, y'all? It's Mirror Times 2, and we back with another video. Yerp. Alright, so today we're going to be reacting to Quando, Rondo before they were famous, and somebody requested it. Oh. Shout out to DDD Gang for requesting this video. Shout out to you. We're going to get straight into it.
Quando Rondo would break his silence on the death of King Von in a new, what people are calling diss track called End of Story. Before Quando Rondo would release his 18-track debut album Q-Pac at the beginning of 2020 and charted at number 22 on Billboard's Hot 200 album chart, Quando Rondo grew up in Savannah, Georgia, which he said was all poverty, murder, thugging, and everybody just trying to find a way out. He was surrounded by violence and crime, and although he tried to resist his life leading down that road, he ended up getting caught up in the legal system, going in and out of juvenile detention for the majority of his adolescent years. It wasn't until he started using social media for the asset that it is by posting videos, beating on his car like drums, and showcasing his ability to rap that he started to gain the attention of major names in the game like Birdman, The Game, and one rapper in particular who would help change his career forever. What's up, guys? It's your girl Azalea Hart back with another video here on Before They Were Famous, this time taking a look at rapper Quando Rondo. We've covered other artists on this channel, so be sure to check those out after you finish watching this video and let me know who's up next in the comment down below. Also, follow our Instagram page at Before They're Famous and follow me too at Azalea Zoe. But for now, let's get into the video and I'll see you after the intro.
Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom!
Quando Rondo was born Taekwon Terrell Bowman on March 23rd, 1999 in Savannah, Georgia, aka The Port. He and his brother were adopted at a young age by their paternal great aunt, and that's who raised him. When he was taken from his parents, this is what he remembers happening.
And it's crazy because I didn't know Lil Tim was his brother. But, you know, there's something. Yeah, it's just...
His parents were fighting and the hot clothes iron fell and burnt his leg. At the time, his mom didn't think it was that bad, but a couple days later, they took him to the hospital. After he was checked out and the doctor realized how bad the burn was, that's when Child Protective Services were called because they thought his parents had abused him intentionally and he was taken away from them. His mother later turned to drugs and his father was in prison, so he didn't grow up with the influence of either of them. His first time going to juvenile hall was at the age of 11 for hitting his little cousin. His adopted mother is the one who called the police.
But we was arguing and I had hit one of them, but not on no trying to hurt him type job, just on some cousins, you know, like some cousin stuff. And she called the police on me and got me a juvenile paper.
You calling the cops on your nephew because he hit his cousin? AKA her son. Cousins is a gunfight. Now, if he hit him where he had to go to the hospital, all that, okay, yeah, you whoop him. It's just like, to a certain extent, like, how did he hit him for you to have to call the police on him and get him on
But
papers?
the way he said it, and she called the police on me, you know, I just hit my cousin, you know how, he even said it, he couldn't have hit him.
And I know that I done got into a few scuffles with girls and boy cousins of mine. They ain't call the police.
We chuck it up and we call it a day.
Right, you reconnect, it's cousins. I mean, like, everybody has a little, maybe, altercation with their cousins, you know, and it ain't even gotta be physical. It could be vocal, but it doesn't matter. Like, we're family at the end of the day, and it happens, right?
It was a simple battery.
And then from 11 years old to 16 years old, he spent the majority of that time locked up. Grade 6 was the last school year that he attended. His last bid in juvenile hall was actually 2 years long, and he was released 2 months before turning 17. He was basically raised in juvenile hall, and he said that once he was released, his mind was always in a defense mode.
And this is exactly what I be talking about. Like, I don't know if people don't talk to their kids no more. Like, even like how the whole system is with the government and like policing. When y'all send people to juvie, jail, prison, all that, y'all just make them adapt to this mindset that they constantly have to defend themselves. And, you know, there's no love, no help, no guidance, nothing. So they're always going to be in this defensive.
Where they have to protect, watch out, look
Right.
over their back and all that. No.
That's how people get made up mentally.
It should
that
be
way.
like, it is literally levels of like, if you should go to jail or not. You know, like the pedophiles and like, you know, the murderers, that type of stuff. Well, yeah, you need to go to jail. But like, if it's like stuff like that for your cousin, no, don't send them to juvenile hall. Have somebody sit down and talk to them and let them know, okay, don't do that. Here's something where you can do. If he makes you angry, go do this instead of doing that, you know.
Or just talk to them. Sit them both down. Like, so-and-so did this. And sit down between the two and have a conversation. Like,
call the cops on them. Okay, you just bringing the cops into
or
their lives
pull
at
out
a
the
young age.
old-fashioned whooping. Like, come on now. But that sometimes isn't very helpful for your kids either. So it's just like a way. You got to know what kind of child you have, and you got to know how to help them and talk to them so they don't go down a certain path in life.
Exactly.
He knew was thugging, fighting, and always on some as he describes. But he says by the time he did reconnect with his biological mother, he knew that she was his real mother, so he knew not to disrespect her. But he also felt that the love wasn't genuine. He looked at her like a stranger because, well, she was, but did eventually end up moving in with her after being kicked out from his great aunt's home. He describes his great aunt or adopted mother as a Jesus type. He said she's very holy, always goes to church, and prays all the time, including praying for him. It was with her that he would attend church growing up, and that's where he was exposed to music. But when he was released from juvenile hall and came home, she didn't want any sort of bad spirits around her, and because he was always carrying guns and into a lot of things that just didn't work for her, she told him, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. At the time of him moving back in with his biological mother, she was clean from using hard drugs for about 6 months with the help of her family.
They see one of us doing something deep in the streets, like a need help, they gonna be there for you like a real family. Like no matter what, they ain't gonna never turn their back on you, no matter what you do. So like.
But after the passing of her mother, she started to really go through it and started snapping at the same family members who were there for her, including Quando and his brother. She came home one day and told them they have to leave for no reason at all. Since then, no matter how much love he has for her, he just decided that he couldn't have her in his life. His father went to prison when he was 3 and spent 12 years in jail, but when he came home from jail, Quando was locked up. But he respects him and loves him just the same.
You only get one mama and daddy, but I kind of grew up without a father.
When they did finally reconnect, they were bumping heads constantly, and he grew up without a father, so he didn't really need a father figure at that point in time, or a mother for that matter, and really he felt like it was just him and his brother. He said ever since he was little, he's always been intuitive. He's always known what was going on around him. After that simple battery charge that he got for hitting his cousin, he was on probation. He started smoking weed and failed his urine test, then he got 7 days for that. He failed again and got 14 days, so then he was put on a leg monitor, but he just wouldn't stay home. He still went out, he didn't charge it, and after 20 days on house arrest, his PO came to the house at 5 a.m., but because he was so young, he just didn't think that what he was doing was wrong, and he thought that scamming the system because the monitor wasn't charged. He didn't know that they knew he wasn't at home. He constantly said in his interviews that he was young and dumb. Anyway, so they bring him back to juvenile hall, and because he had been in juvie 3 times in 3 months, they put him in a boot camp. In the boot camp, he got in so many fights that after 2 to 3 months, they put him back in juvenile hall. He was released again. He's 12-ish at this point, leg monitor again, but now for 60 days. So this time though, he decides to cut his leg monitor off. He goes outside to play, and his great aunt then called the police after seeing him do that.
She called the police on me again, but now that I'm older, I know she didn't do it to hurt me. She felt like I was going down the wrong path, and I felt like she'd rather me be in juvenile and dead if I wasn't gonna listen to her.
At the age of 13, he said he was pretty much living on the streets at this point, struggling to eat sometimes, riding his bicycle everywhere, moving from couch to couch, from family member to family member, because he refused to go back to his adopted mother's house for about 2 months because he knew that she'd call the police. Then one day, him and his cousins were walking past the dollar store, and they decided, hey, why not steal some cap guns? But here's the thing, he was the only one to get caught, and he went back to juvenile hall, and he went this time for 4 months.
You be young and dumb. You feel me? When you doing you ain't got no business, you don't really know how to do it. You feel me? That's what gets you
Then when he was released, he was on house arrest again, but now he knows if he goes outside again, he's definitely gonna go back, and he doesn't want that anymore because he starts to feel a little bit left behind in his friends and cousins circle. He was watching them go to school,
You know, well, at the same time, I guess like his family members was doing the same thing as him, but they weren't getting caught, so that would kind of nail and void what I was gonna say. But for future references, for anybody, if y'all see y'all friends out there just taking the wrong path, redirect them, because ain't nothing wrong with enlightening them. Like, you know, help them out, because they your friends, right? How can they be your friends if you don't help guide them to the right path?
And you just sitting there letting them do that, and you looking at them like, dang, what happened to that? Help them.
Right. Like,
don't just be like, oh, what happened? Something must have happened.
Come on now.
So yeah, you see it go down, be like, hey bro, what's wrong? They'll tell you.
But sometimes people be looking for somebody to care, so that's all I'm saying.
watching their lives unfold on Facebook.
Cause I'm a juvenile bird. I keep going back and forth to juvenile. Nobody know me no more. Right. I stay in jail every other month. I started going to juvenile in the 6th grade.
He just knew he wasn't part of their lives anymore, so he tried to stay out of trouble, and he even got a couple jobs. He had a job working at Crystal Beer Parlor in Georgia, but after about a week, he said he had to leave because he hated it so much. Then he worked at the fast food restaurant Checkers.
I had a job at Checkers one time around the corner. On Skidaway, man, I've been in that bitch about an hour. I got the go, boy.
So I guess he worked a regular job for about a total of 41 hours. His friends would try to get him to sell weed, but he always said he was a rapper, not a trapper. Eventually, he gave in. He tried selling a bag of weed, but he ended up just giving it away. Following that, he graduated to more intense work and started breaking into houses and hitting licks. With the
That's cap. Oh, I'm gonna touch on that too, but that's cap. If that man was smoking weed, he probably smoked it himself.
Exactly. And this I'm talking about, he ain't want to sell weed. He wanted more up work. That work was down here for him.
Levels.
He wanted to rob.
He wants to get dirty with it. For real.
No,
he skipped levels. Stop selling the weed, went straight to breaking it.
He didn't even want to sell the weed. He gave it away supposedly and went straight to robbing.
amount of time that he spent in juvenile hall around other criminals, he was soaking up information like a sponge, from their stories to their bad habits to their schemes. While sitting at home one day smoking weed, he thought to himself, I need more money for weed. And that's when it occurred to him, robbery. At 14, he broke into his first house and he found a .38 revolver, but his older cousin took it from him. But once he realized how easy it was, he started doing it more and more. He began recruiting friends and his cousins, and they started hitting different neighborhoods to get bigger items like televisions and whatever else they could sell on the street. When they started going to Forest Park in Atlanta, where the bigger houses are, his first hit there, he got caught because of the silent alarm, and he did 15 months for that burglary. When he was released, they put him in a group home in Columbus, Georgia, but he fought every single day, smoked cigarettes, did whatever he could to get out of there until they sent him back to juvie. He then did 15 months.
The most human trait.
Okay, so what y'all telling me is y'all seen that he was going down a terrible path, smoking cigarettes, not want to be in that home, and y'all sent him back to jail just because of that? That doesn't make sense.
I kind of want to know.
Because he was smoking cigarettes, staying out.
Yeah,
okay, I get the fighting part,
that stuff.
but y'all sending this man back to jail for 15 months and stuff like that.
My whole thing is, like, you know, people's stories make them so everything that he went through is what he needed to go through to get to where he at now. But how was his life like before he was sent to juvie? Before his aunt sent him to juvie, like, was he just going to school, or was he already into this type of stuff? But you know, your surroundings kind of influence you too, so it's just so hard to say, like, oh, you know, he could have
did this, did that.
You know, he's surrounded by so much of what he was doing.
Beating on the mat, on the bed, on the wall, on the door, on the desk. At child, beating on my chest. That's where I get it from.
Once he got out this time, he ended up getting a real gun, and he started riding in stolen cars with his friends, toting guns, gang banging, walking the streets, and doing whatever had to be done. This is all at just 14 years old now. Eventually, he was in county jail for possession of firearms and other charges from juvie, so he spent 5 months. At this point now, I'm fast forwarding through a lot of the time he spent in juvenile hall. He was 17, and when a youth turns 17, all of your juvie record gets erased. But the system was holding charges against him because they wanted to charge him as an adult. So he went to county jail for a gun, but ended up having a state hold for 5 to 6 months, and then he was in and out 4 more times.
I got to the point where I'm like, man, I can't keep doing this shit.
At this point, he started taking rapping a little bit more seriously. He made a song called First Day Out, and that went viral in his city. Then one of his friends called a videographer, and they started shooting videos. Those went viral as well.
Late nights on my avenue by myself. I ain't need a gang member. Nigga, I remember. I ain't hear no money on my books this time. That shit was September.
Then, when he went back to jail, he wrote another song called I Remember, and when he was released, that's when his career started taking off. Lil Baby jumped on this track as well, and it currently has over 75 million views on YouTube. Even with his newfound success, Quando was still in the streets, and this is when he got his 24-month-long sentence. Him and his boy were riding around in a stolen car, and there were also guns in that car, and when police pulled up, they parked the car, split up, and ran. Quando was the one again that got caught and charged for both the stolen car and guns.
You are the
Plus,
weakest link, and that should tell you something. You are not cut out for this
Look,
life.
he know this now because he on something completely different. But yes, back in your day, boy, you ain't had no business doing what you was doing.
You ain't
getting caught. Not that I ain't freaking saying what he was doing is good, but dang, like,
if you gonna do
something, make sure you the one getting the way.
Exactly. This is your second time getting caught. All your friends got away. You're the only one that's left. Weak.
And they keep telling you along every time. No, be like, no, I'm gonna sit out on this one. One of y'all niggas can get caught.
Right. Somebody else. It's somebody else's turn, not mine.
For real.
Included in a bunch of other charges too.
2 burglaries, simple batteries, banging government property, tampering with government property. That's from cutting the leg monitor off. 2 different assurances from not going to school. Just
moving on to his music career. Beyond
I don't want to speak on this truancy. They be doing too much. They try
like, sit down.
I wouldn't even say they tried. They put us on truancy in school.
But guess what? We stood 10 toes.
And we
still ain't come to school. Big generals.
And we still passed though. It was nothing like that. It's just school. The school is for some people. The school I went to just wasn't for me.
It's either you can come or you don't. When I stay home, that's my business. I'm at home. You don't come knocking my door trying to bring me none of that.
Nobody
they
knew
not to do that, but I heard people.
Yeah, I heard.
They knew who to play with though.
Don't come to my door, baby, because you will not get answered. I'll be looking at you through the peephole. Like, hi, you're not getting here.
See ya. I'll see you at school maybe tomorrow.
You can try to talk to me, but I'm going to take it in one ear and let it go out the other.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I'm going to shut the door.
And I'm going to still pass my classes with A's and B's and be good and out that. You feel me?
We did.
Like, my grade's good. Leave me alone, homie.
Exactly. You're doing too much because y'all want to get paid.
Exactly. I ain't trying to pay y'all.
Y'all ain't teaching me nothing. Y'all ain't teaching me nothing.
Everything I need to know, I learned it through the life that I live. Not through y'all books, because what y'all teaching me is false. And I ain't even going to get into that.
Exactly. So I was really finna hop on y'all. Let's go.
Yeah, I could. I could talk y'all ear off.
On to older cats who had money that he knew from his hometown trying to sign him. Birdman, The Game, and NBA Youngboy wanted to sign him too, but he stuck with NBA Youngboy and eventually Atlantic Records. Birdman actually wanted to put him on a plane to Miami immediately, but that didn't end up working out because his probation officer didn't think it was real, so she wouldn't let him leave. So he very well could have been signed to Cash Money if that trip went through.
the YB situation was just too real, just too good. It was too good to be true.
He signed his deal with YB for $150K and spent it all in 2 months. He spent most of his money on shoes and clothes and bought so much stuff for people that he knows too.
And all my people, hey, you want these? Y'all boys want this? I was spending money on everybody. Y'all walking the mall, see everybody, and they'll be like, you want this?
I'm saying he went from $150K to $0. He wanted to stay in Savannah, but his family and the people around him wanted him to leave because they saw the dangers in staying where you grew up and blowing up, just like Nipsey Hussle, for example.
He's trying to make it, but you got brothers that tell him won't let him make it.
Right, calm down.
That's what we be
Nobody
talking
know.
about.
Rondo signed a deal with Atlantic Records and finally got out of Savannah and moved to Atlanta, where he started working in
Just
the
a quick briefing, quick teaching. All right, so imagine this. We lived in a world where people actually supported people. Boom, you see somebody want to do something, you already got money, you support them, help them get to where they're trying to get to. Boom, now they got money, and now they might know somebody that need help too. Boom, you help that person, now they got money too. Boom. You see how that continues to go on, that cycle of helping people, supporting people get to where they're trying to be, instead of people living out here in poverty?
Instead of trying to steal. When we all can be great together, we all can have everything that we want, basically.
Listen, that's what this entire, like, thing is. Like, love God, praise him for everything that he blessed with you, and give back to your people. What he say? Love thy neighbor. Come on now.
Exactly. And it's so many people that have so much money in this world. It shouldn't be no homeless people. It shouldn't be nobody going without food. Nobody that don't have a a roof over their head. None of that. But it is. And it's crazy.
It's because we as human beings
are greedy,
selfish, and everybody just wants power for themselves, and nobody wants to help other people. There's a few, and from billions and trillions of people in the world, it's probably about 1 million of those people who actually got really good hearts.
Probably not even that.
And that's sad.
He said he was wearing designer, had money in his bank, but he couldn't just be hanging around and doing the same thing that he's always been doing. He needed to feel like he belonged. He said, I still feel like I wasn't coming up. I am working hard, but this just didn't seem real until I met Lil Baby. Big Bro did a song with me, shot a video with him. That shit took me through the roof. And from there, it was pretty much over. On September 24, 2018, Quando dropped the mixtape Life After Fame to critical acclaim. What did Life After Fame bring him? Well, it got him the highly sought after blue check on Instagram. He told Noisy, when I got my blue check on Instagram, I don't give a what nobody say. Every end that got that blue check, that makes them happy. It makes me feel important. DM any girl you want to, that girl gonna bite. You got a blue check. He said, back then I had nothing to lose. I didn't care about anything. Now I've got something to lose. It's like this was destined for me though. Plus, he has his daughter who will be celebrating her first birthday next month in December.
Man, I'm just ready. Because I'm financially stable, but I probably ain't mentally stable, but I'm financially stable for sure.
I really give you on that one.
Anyway, now that he has
You gotta be honest, I'm financially stable. I might not be mentally stable, but you got this. You got this. You need good people around you, influence you.
Literally help you, uplift you.
You need God to tell you the truth. That's the only person who can really just free you from all your worries, all your stress, all your past,
everything that you're going through. Talk to him.
That's it. Talk to him. And have good people around you with good hearts, good spirits, not people who want from you.
more money and built it all back up from $0, he still often goes back to Savannah and hangs out as usual, but now with security with him. He's also starting to look into more investments like real estate and CBD oil. As for the rest of his story, well, that's for another time and another video because this is before they were famous. I'm Azalea Hart. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Azalea Zoe and let me know.
All right, y'all. Like I said,
that was before fame.
Your story is what makes you so.
The stuff he went through made him the person he is today. So
yes, and if he wouldn't have went through it, then who knows where he'd be now. So, your girls, Mirror Times 2, and we out. Love, honor, and glory to God. Peace.